the world is still on Scottie Scheffler's side. 65% are saying it's just going to be Scottie Scheffler. 10% say Rory, 5% say Xander, and 20% say other. And some of the people who've written in for other, we've had some people mention Bryson. A couple people said Ludwig.
Ludwig is fourth right now.
Correct. You can see in the standings right there on your screen. Colin Morikawa is fifth.
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
So it is right there. So, and then there's some other people complaining that the world rankings are a bit of a joke. But the reality is, if you win major championships, you're going to get the most points. It doesn't matter what tour you're playing on.
Could you put that back up there again, Andrew? I want to see that relative to what Dom was just talking about.
What do you mean? What I was talking about?
Thomas. No, you're out of time. Matsuyama, Morikawa. Where is Bryson right now? What's he actually ranked?
The live guys obviously have they've sort of tumbled down.
So
but
for Bryson to get to number one, I don't even know what that would take. I mean, somebody could do the math because he's going to get world ranking points in the majors. Would he have to win two of them?
If he wins a major, he'll get pretty close.
I don't think one will do it. Xander won 2 last year, and he couldn't overtake Scottie, even though Scottie won 1.
Yeah, that's why.
So you're assuming the combination is that Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, even Rory do nothing. Bryson wins 2 to try to get up there.
No, I didn't say.
There's an imbalance in the world ranking, as we've talked about a million times. Guys, why can't we figure this out?
Of course, that's 100% true. That being said, Tyrrell Hatton is on the Live Tour, and he has jumped up to 8th in the standings because he's participated in some European Tour events, and he's played very well there.
Oh, the DP World Tour events. That's right. He has played. Knows he's won.
So he's won 2 or 3 in the last, 10 that he's played, and he's finishing top 10 regularly, and he's pushed himself into the top 10 in the world without winning any majors at all. I'm not saying that's fair. There's still, I agree, there's still, like you're saying, there's still an imbalance. For sure there is. But you can't just blindly say that, well, they can't get any ranking points. That's just not true. They're going to play in 4 majors. Bryson will play in 4 majors, and he can play in some DP World Tour events if he chooses to. So, and you can still collect points that way. Anyway, that being said, where do you stand? Who do you think? Do you think that outside of Scottie, Xander, and Rory, with the current structure of the rankings, that anybody else could even do it?
Yes, I do. I do think so. But
who do you think that would be? Who's the best?
Those are 2 separate questions. The first question you asked me was, who do I think will be number 1 at the end of the year? And I still think it's going to be Scottie. I haven't seen anything that demonstrates that he will appreciably be less of a player than what he has been in the past. Unless that hand injury was a lot more severe than what we realize, and he has some type of residual performance issue from it through the healing process or otherwise, or lack of, then I can't see why Scheffler will suddenly become different than what he was, because there's different players, and sometimes you can tell when a player ascends to greatness, however you define that. But if we define it in this case by being top ranked, by winning multiple times or winning major championships, pretty good definition, right? But when a player ascends to that, you could tell that they're kind of swept up in this kind of wave of great play, great confidence, etc. Do you get the impression that that's what's going on with Scottie Scheffler? Because I don't. I don't get the impression that Scottie Scheffler has significantly changed in terms of his overall persona or even his self-image, having accomplished what he's accomplished. In other words, he's not being consumed by the moment. Scottie Scheffler is, first and foremost, still Scottie Scheffler, the guy that goes home and is making Christmas dinner and cuts himself with a glass. Right? Where everybody initially, they're like, I can't believe he did that. Why didn't you get someone to do that for you? You're Scottie Scheffler. You made, a gazillion dollars last year. That's not Scottie Scheffler. He is who he is, and he apparently is the guy that he's always been. So for that reason, I don't see, unless someone plays incredibly impressive golf, and Xander's coming back. What did he announce down Bay Hill? That we're going to see him next?
Yeah, his target date, the target for Xander right now is being reported as currently. Yeah.
Okay. So unless he comes back or Rory starts to do something extraordinary, because you asked me about those two. I mean, truly extraordinary, because you have to beat the best, you have to overcome the best, you have to beat them, right? And I just don't see Scottie Scheffler going away. That doesn't mean that I'm going to say that Scottie Scheffler is going to win multiple majors or anything like that. I'm not even sure if he's going to win one major this year, but all he's got to do is hang around and be in the mix.
How long is the list of players, in your opinion, that have the ability or the capability to win 2 major championships this year?
I would say
what is that list?
Bryson can do it. We've got the Masters, of course, at Augusta.
Andrew, do you have the list of where the tournaments are this year for the majors? I think we do.
You've got the PGA in Charlotte, Quail Hollow.
There it is. Yeah, there it is, Matt, up on the screen.
Oh, you got it right in front of me. You've got the U.S. Open at Oakmont. You've got the Open at Royal Portrush. So from the standpoint, I mean, you break it down by player. Let's start, because, again, I'll start with, I think Bryson...
Well, I'm just wondering if that list of players is that list of players like 4 or 5 or like 15.
I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So I would say Bryson can win anywhere. So Bryson at the Masters, he could do it, but I'm not feeling it. PGA Championship, he could win there. Oakmont, which is going to be a big golf course like it always is, he could win there. And Portrush. His play on links golf hasn't been incredible. So I would say, if it was Bryson, I would say PGA Championship and the U.S. Open. Right? Brooks, I would say the same. Well, he'd be 3. He'd be the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Open for Brooks. The last time we were at Royal Portrush for the Open, in 19.
Why are you like dispelling the
Brooks.
Masters as a thing that he could win?
Because the Masters is so much about putting, and it's so much about the nuance of the short game, that I think a player has to be exceptional in that area in particular, or that week, which both of them, Brooks more so even than Bryson in my mind, are capable of doing that week. So all of these guys, you start with the general brushstroke that says they can win all of them. So obviously Scottie, Xander, and Rory are yeses, right? For multiple,
they have the capability
for multiple majors. Yeah.
In 1 year,
and
correct.
obviously,
so is Ludwig and Morikawa?
Well, hold on one second.
5 and 6 in the
Xander
world.
is also, because he just did it, so he's obviously shown us that when he's on song, in full flight, he can do it. So he's one that I would put there. In terms of players to watch for major championships this year, I think Joaquin Niemann's playing with a tremendous amount of confidence. I do think that Terrell Hatton can go out in a flash and do something. I would see him more along the lines of Port Rush. But he's a great ball striker. I could see Tommy Fleetwood breaking through this year. Remember at Port Rush in 19, he was right behind Shane Lowry. A lot of people forget that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him break through. I know it's a different question to say who could you see winning a major this year. Obviously, Ludwig, I could see winning a major this year and breaking through. And frankly, Ludwig, because he feels good physically now, which is an important consideration. He has now broken through and won. I think that Ludwig could go on once you get over the hump. Again, I realize this is his second win, but in the middle of that, he had that knee surgery, which a lot of people didn't know about or they forget about. But once you get over that hump now and you win the way that he won, to come from behind, to play the way he did, to etch his victory, I think that he could have a Scottie Scheffler-esque type of run in front of him. And he's very similar in my mind to a Scheffler in that I don't think he's all of a sudden discovering who he is and his place in the universe by going, wow, I can do this. Isn't this great? Which we see with a lot of players that end up shortly thereafter kind of flaming out because they start to play very well. They start to be one of the best in the world. They start to win a major championship, and they start to redefine who they are and what their expectations are.
What about Jon Rahm, who has honestly, he's sort of disappeared. He went to Live Golf, and he hasn't been dominant out there. And he's dropped in the rankings, obviously, for obvious reasons. With the way but
his teams have done well. Jon Rahm is fueled by emotion. And at the majors, it is the ultimate cauldron of emotion. So I think it's different with John Rahm because
Meaning that helps him or hurts him?
Helps him tremendously. I don't think that John Rahm's skills have gone away. I don't think what John Rahm's capable of doing has disappeared. And I think the most dangerous part of John Rahm is when he's got a big old chip on his shoulder. So yes, I do. And if I had to look at it and say, well, pick a John Rahm has won multiple times on links golf courses. Multiple times. He won at Port Stewart. He won at Lahinch. He's won in the desert on the PGA Tour. Not so much like links, but just in terms of that environment. He's won in the Middle East. So yeah, John Rahm's very.
So I
much
think
part of the
I think
picture.
your list is about 8 people right now.
And I could go on. I don't think that's the limit of it. That's the beauty of where we are with the game right now, and the potential of people playing well. You know, I brushstroked over Rory, but you're talking about Rory at the Masters again. It just seems like I think Rory. I'd love to see him come from behind. Right? I think Rory needs, when he gets his next major, he needs to be a stroke or two behind coming into the day or coming into the back nine. And instant magical could take place. But the weight of the Masters, because it represents a career Grand Slam, just seems pretty mighty. From there, you're talking about the PGA Championship. Quail Hollow has been a happy hunting ground for Rory forever. Well, I was doing the radio when he won his first event. When he sunk that bomb on 18 to take down Phil Mickelson, I was assigned to the group in front of him. I don't even remember who I was with. But I remember my day ended, and I said to my producer, hey, do you mind if I hang out here to watch Rory finish? And so I crouched down beneath it was actually one of the CBS cameras. They have those big, huge, like, studio cameras right on the green. So I sat underneath the thing because you could get an unobstructed view there and watched Rory bomb that. So Rory at Quail Hollow, yeah. You know who else has had great success there? Justin Thomas. He's hitting the ball well. He's playing well. He's another one that I'd throw into the mix. Oakmont is about driving the golf ball, first and foremost. Drive for dough and putt for show, even though the greens are lightning fast, and they will be, so it's going to be a short game clinic there too, but you first have to get there, and that's going to be about power. Well, you talk about Rory McIlroy. You asked me about Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa wins when his putter is even somewhere around average, even 60th in Colin Morikawa. I'm talking about in the field, in putting, Colin Morikawa can die because of the strength of his ball striking. But back to Rory, Oakmont would seem like it's a pretty good place for him. Royal Portrush. Let it slip through his fingers last time. Remember? Opened with an 8. I was assigned to him that day, too. I was assigned to him both days, Thursday and Friday. And I got to tell you, that Thursday, with him fighting to make the cut, was one of the most emotional things that I've seen in a golf course, save for a Solheim Cup and a Ryder Cup. The way tens of thousands of people were pulling for Rory, and Rory came away, if you remember, afterwards and got very emotional and wept and said he was reminded, he realized that what he does is not just for him. A member of Rory's camp, an individual very, very close to him, told one of my broadcast partners that week that it was just too much for Roy. To have the Open in Northern Ireland right down the road was just too much. It was just the emotions of the weight of the whole thing overtook him. And we got what was awesome with Shane Lowry from the Republic of Ireland winning that week. So could Rory get it done at Royal Portrush? Different mindset. Few years on in terms of maturity. Well into his 30s now. Yeah, could. Not just Rory. So it's the way the table is getting set for the majors in 2025 is incredibly competitive. There's little doubt about that.